Ho, ho, ho! Okay, we are not quite there yet, but Christmas may have come early for me, at least. And it's not another SUV or a car that claims to be an SUV. Today, we are in a sedan, and a very beautiful one at that. This is the Lynk Co Z10, or as it's supposed to be pronounced, Z10. And in a sea of SUV kind of blobs and sofas disguised as cars, this makes a very strong case for the sedan. The Z10, as the brand's first pure electric car, is the result of the ultra-competitive China market, packed with tech, performance, practicality, and at the right price. Oh, and did I mention it may be coming to Europe? Don't be a Scrooge this Christmas. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe for more great EV content. Oh, and Merry Christmas. After reviewing the Polestar 4 last time, check the review above, I thought I would never fall in love again. But look at this, what a beauty. And we even have it in this lovely festive red color. If this was a painting, it would be in the Louvre. I'm not exaggerating when I say this car is a work of art. The proportions are excellent. And you can tell that a lot of effort was spent to make this car look good from every angle. And just as well, apparently it took a team of over 100 designers from 20 different countries working together to produce this. And it shows. And the result is a result which I think will be loved globally. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better looking electric sedan today. What do you think? Make sure you let us know in the comments. It doesn't just look great, it has a functional purpose as well, giving it a drag coefficient of 0.19, which easily beats out both the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y, although falls slightly short of the Xiaomi SU7's 0.195. And although it does compete with the Xiaomi SU7 in terms of tech, performance, and maybe even pricing, where they don't compete is in terms of the originality of their design, the exterior design. It's great to see that original designs are alive and well, especially for sedans. And some have also drawn comparisons between this and other cars within Geely Group. Perhaps the silhouette looks familiar, and these lights at the front, I feel like I've seen them before, but I can't remember where. It's a long car, and it has to be with that 3-meter long wheelbase, the benefit of which we'll see a little bit later. And that active spoiler at the back is certainly not for show, as this car packs a punch. Now, let's take a look inside. So sitting in the front of the Z10, and I think it channeled most of its originality towards the outside design. Inside is pretty nice, nothing to get too excited or offended about. Although perhaps I spoke a little bit too soon, we have this long color LED strip that runs the length of the car, which will obviously change color depending on your drive mode and will flash and pulse for things like music and also when you use your turn signals, which I think sounds fun, but it might get a little bit tedious after a while. We have a nice 23 Harman Kardon speaker system, including 2 in the driver's headrest for things like navigation. And then once again, we have a 15.4-inch central infotainment system, which seems to be the go-to size for a lot of brands, and I think it's big enough. Then we also have a very long and thin 12.6-inch driver's cluster display here, which displays things like your driving mode, your distance and your speed, and as well as your tire pressure, which can obviously be adjusted, which I really like. I think it's very unobtrusive, but it also gives you all the information that you need. But if that is too subtle, we also have a 25.6-inch heads-up display. So let's have a little bit of a compliment sandwich for the interior of the Z10. So one thing I do like is this visor. So this is something I haven't actually seen before. So this is a visor, and the bottom half of the visor is actually a kind of sun blocking kind of material, which can actually be great if you didn't bring your sunglasses, for example. And at the top, it's just kind of standard. We even have a mirror with a light. So it still has the same functionality as a normal sun visor, but actually it also can give you the view while blocking out those sun rays. One thing I didn't like about the interior of the Z10 is that some of these materials do feel a little bit cheap. Of course, a lot of them are in places you wouldn't usually touch, but actually some of them look even a bit cheap. And then a lot of them are in places that you would touch. And it feels a little bit cheap, but fortunately, I think it's still great for the price point of this car. So another thing I really like about this car is that it has lots of places to charge your phone or whatever else you need to charge. So here we have 2 wireless 50 watts of high-speed charging pads, which is great. So both you and your passenger don't need to argue about whose phone is charging. Then if I open up here, we have two more. One is a 60 watt and one is a 27 watt Type C charging ports, which is great. And in the back, we have another USB and Type C charging port. So we've got lots of places to keep our things charged, which I think is great. So sitting in the back, and we actually have a lot of space here, thanks to that 3-meter long wheelbase. I'm a tall guy, 6'4", 197 centimeters. And for me, it's great. I can get my feet a little bit under that feet in front. And we also have heating, ventilation, and massage seats for the top trims of this car. So you really need to decide if you think your passengers deserve as comfortable a ride as you. So this center armrest folds down. We have some kind of storage here, as well as the controls for our seat functions. And actually, for a long journey, I can see this being quite comfortable. In terms of headroom, it's a little bit tight, to be honest. I'm going to give them a pass because I'm a taller guy. Most people would be fine here. So you also have this amazing sunroof here, which spans from the front all the way to the back, which we also saw last time on the Polestar 4. However, here, I feel like the quality of the glass isn't as good. It is not as clear, so it doesn't really give you this connection with the outside, but still lovely. Chinese EVs come in all shapes, sizes, and performance levels, from the crazy to the, well, let's be honest, to the even more crazy. So where does the Lynk Co Z10 fit into this equation? So I think it's aimed at the kind of modern tech-conscious consumer, and there certainly is plenty of tech in here, as is typical from a Chinese EV brand. It does have the performance too, with a number of different packages to choose from, including dual motor and single motor versions, with the dual motor version kicking out 780 horsepower for a 0 to 60 time of 3.5 seconds. I don't really know which of the engineers is saying that these Chinese EVs need more horsepower, but no one asked for it. But anyway, we've been given it, so we might as well enjoy it. But as they understand that the average consumer doesn't need this and probably won't get to use this most of the time, they also add a good amount of comfort. So obviously we mentioned they have the massaging, heating, ventilation seats. It also has dual chamber air springs and electromagnetic suspension to give you this comfort should you desire it. The air suspension, which has an adjustability of plus or minus 30 millimeters, is obviously giving you the choice of how hardcore you really want to be. I'm in comfort mode now, and I have to say the ride is absolutely fine. It's not the most comfortable EV I've been in, but it's definitely better than average. But if you also want to have more road feel and get a sore bum very quickly, you have that freedom. The Z10 comes with the option of a 71 or a 95 LFP battery, which can give you up to 710 kilometers of range, and that's in the CLT cycle. So it's kind of giving you lots of different options depending on what exactly you were looking for. Do you want performance? Do you want long range? It has the options available to you, and depending on your package, it will either come with 400 or 800 volt architecture for the battery, which means you can charge 570 kilometers of range in either 30 minutes or 15 minutes, depending on which of these batteries you have. So what's the verdict? The Z10 is yet another example of how far Chinese EVs have come. And while the underpinnings may be Chinese, the design is one that only a global team could create. In the Chinese market, the Z10 is priced from around 230,000 yuan, putting it right in the middle of a very competitive price point. Another reason for bringing it to Europe, where it's slightly less competitive, at least for the moment. And while the brand has not officially confirmed plans as to where this will go in the future, both the Z10 and the smaller electric SUV, the Z20, had their debuts in Europe. And the combination of them both could make the brand a contender in the European market. What do you think of the Z10? Make sure you leave your comments below. Be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. I'll see you next time.